I have a confession to make. My games, as they are, just aren't enough. They're pathetic. They're worthless. And I need expansions! Oh, whoa! 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 Yeah, these would be the top 10 expansions that I want to get. I don't know, I heard about them, and now I'm going to talk about them. I actually have a lot more than 10, but we'll save those for the honorable mentions. Just so you know, I curated it for you all. Here's the deal. I could never just start into a list. Maybe I'm gonna. Haha, number 10 is Tiny Towns. Here's the deal. I'm not gonna start into this list, but I just figured I'd give you a little taste, a little camera switch up. A little switch up on the camera to keep you on your toes. I don't ever think expansions are necessary, and I think if your game needs an expansion, it's a bad game. I think if your game needs an expansion to be good, it's a bad game. However, I do love expansions because they add to the game, right? They give you more of what is already a good thing. So that's a distinction here of these, I think, would enhance my experience, but by no means are they necessary to enjoying the experience. Because if they were, they would be stupid. In fact, I almost didn't put Tiny Towns on here, but it's here as number 10. I don't really like Tiny Towns. I don't think Tiny Towns is very good, but I think it can be good on a rare occasion when I feel like it's good, if that makes sense. It's one of those games where I'm like, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. And then I keep it because it's a 6-player game. And then I play it, and you play it in the sort of the cutthroat way, and it's good. It's fine. It's decent, but it's never something that I want to personally get off the shelf. Tiny Towns is a bit of an emotional one for me because it is something that I used to play with someone who I no longer play a lot of games with, or any games, or see in my life anymore. And that's upsetting. So it's almost like a, why am I even holding on to this anymore? I should probably just cull it. But I don't know if I'm emotionally ready to cull it. So instead, let's get expansions for it. No, what I think the expansions for Tiny Towns have been very interesting. I don't quite know what's the best expansion to get, but I remember looking at, I think the Architects expansion, the latest one, when it was on Kickstarter, just in terms of the additional buildings that they add. I found that the buildings in the base game kind of get a little bit stale, and I think that's part of my mid feeling on Tiny Towns, is that I think the base set of buildings can get not necessarily stale, but also solvable. I think it's easy to solve it, especially with that one orange building that's just gotta go in the corners, because if it's in the corners, then it's worth like 4 points for each one, and then it's just mathematically the better thing to have in all of your corners, and you should just get that in your corners immediately, and everybody does it, you know? And so I like the idea here that they're adding in new buildings to shake up the meta. And I think that might be something that I need for my game of Tiny Towns. I also think that there have been a lot of expansions of Tiny Towns where they add in a bunch of new twists on the game. And I wonder if those new twists would be interesting or not. Having villagers in here, which can, I guess, live in your village, or are asymmetric powers. Like, this seems cool. So all of this stuff seems interesting to me in terms of shaking up the game and something to shake up the meta, because what my main gripe with Tiny Towns is that with the current base set of houses, it feels like people are more likely to try to do the same thing. And if you're more likely to try to do the same thing, you can get really punished for going off meta. And so I really like when people are doing multiple different things and are incentivized to do multiple different things, and anything that can help shake that up, I think would be interesting and neat to add. So that's why I put Tiny Towns on as my number 10. But will I ever pay for an expansion for Tiny Towns? Probably never. I don't like the game enough. So why is it in the top 10 list? I don't know. Probably nostalgia and emotional trauma. Let's move on to Spirit Island. Speaking of trauma, let's put some trauma on the colonizers. Spirit Island has a bunch of expansions. The large ones are Nature Incarnate, Feather and Flame, Jagged Earth, and then Branch and Claw. And so I've been playing a bit of Spirit Island recently, and I was told that Branch and Claw is the necessity. You need it to have a complete game. I've been playing a stupid little baby game because I don't have this, because I don't have the event cards. Yeah, new Blight cards, new scenarios, new fear cards, new power cards, new tokens, a new adversary, a new step to the invader phase. Events. The event deck has events that happen each turn, adding further variation to the gameplay. So that's the thing that I've been told is interesting. And would make me consider picking this up and adding it to my game. The fact that you wouldn't need to add anything else is good to me. That you wouldn't need to worry about incorporating that or to have too much more rules overhead when adding new players is interesting to me. And this events deck seems interesting as well. However, it's one of those things where, yeah, I think for the event deck, I might pick it up to enhance my play of Spirit Island because they were saying that this was part of the base game, but they took it out in order to make it a cheaper cost. And so to really be in the base game, well, if they took it out, no, if you took it out, it shouldn't be in the base game. It should be an expansion. But I do like the concept of the event deck. I think that might add to some of the difficulty that I'm hoping for. I don't know if I really like the difficulty bumps of the adversaries right now. And I don't really care for the scenario cards right now because they feel like they shake up the core loop of the game a little bit too significantly for me. So adding these event decks and these other random events that could happen seem exciting. I'll give it that it seems exciting and definitely would be on my checkout and grab list should I ever see it in the wild for a good price. I'm very happy with Spirit Island as it is, but I'm intrigued about this event deck. So that's the main thing that is drawing me into Branch and Claw. For all you Spirit Island fans out there, let me know what your favorite expansion is for Spirit Island because it's one of those games that I really like. I don't play a lot. I don't play enough. I think if I was a solo gamer, I would play it a lot. This could make me into a solo gamer, I think. I don't know. I just like playing with people, though. Nature Incarnate. What do you add? Ships, hey? Possibility of ship and other different tokens. I don't know. I'm intrigued by Spirit Island, but I think it has too much. It has too much content for me for the amount that I play it. But Branch and Claw seems like it would be a very minimal add. And so that's why, yeah, it's number 9. Number 9 on the list of things that I would get. Number 8 would be the new buildings in Puerto Rico. I've heard that this is the best expansion to get. And this is incorporated in the non-colonizer version of Puerto Rico 1897. And so I probably would just get that because it's got all of those little mini expansions built in rather than try to track down an out-of-print stupid new building expansion. But I've heard by the one guy in the comments who always says that Puerto Rico is one of their favorite games and that the new buildings are awesome. It has sunk in. Saying things in the comments. I read all the comments, and I appreciate you sharing all of your excitement. And that excitement is definitely translated. I really like the buildings of Puerto Rico, and I think shifting up the buildings would shift up the strategy of the game so drastically that it would be something that I'd be interested in trying. And I know that comes in the special edition, right? And comes in the Puerto Rico 1897 re-implemented by. Can you see all of the re-implemented bys? Or is just this little... You'd think it would say re-implemented by Puerto Rico 1897. No, it doesn't say re-implemented Puerto Rico. You'd think that would be the connection there. But yeah, I know that the new buildings are in this one, and so that's what really was incentivizing me to grab this one, as well as I like the re-theming personally. So yeah, shifting up the building, shifting up... I love when a game can just be like, yeah, you've played the original game. Now play a completely different game with all the same mechanisms just by changing that market. And I think the buildings have such a core implication on the strategy of Puerto Rico that it would shift everything up. And so seeing that shift would be very exciting to me, something I would enjoy experiencing. So that's number 8. Number 7 is Clank. So I only have Clank, the deck building game. And I know that there are a bunch of new maps for Clank, right? There was a ton of new maps back in the day. I guess there's all these friggin' promo cards too. But it's like Clank Expeditions, the Temple of the Ape Lords, the Underwater City, the Golden Silk. And all of these I feel probably don't exist anymore because they are investing more into Clank Catacombs. Probably the play for me would be to just get Clank Catacombs or to get Clank Legacy Acquisitions Incorporated. Not necessarily an expansion, but an entirely new Clank experience. But I'm lumping it all in here because I think the shifting up of the map, and that is where the game will have that new life and new experience. I like Clank a lot. I haven't played Clank in a long time for the amount that I actually do like it. I like deck building with a board. I really do. I think it's a heck of a lot of fun. And so having a different board with different cards, adding in all of the expansions to Clank feel like they just add in more stuff. And I would be super interested in trying out Clank Catacombs. I think Clank Catacombs would be my next one because I've heard Clank Legacy was really good. And then I hear it's just a lot of story. And I don't want that in my Legacy game experiences anymore. I don't want to just sit around and read narrative text. I want to play gameplay more than that. I don't know. I could probably do it with Zach. We would probably have a fun time reading the text together and doing different voices and stuff. But when it's like there's so many breaks for text and it kind of breaks up the game, that's the main complaint I've heard about Clank Legacy. And so I much would rather, I think, the Clank Catacombs experience and just get into that modular board and experience the modular board all throughout rather than picking up a bunch of new boards like Ticket to Ride. I think Clank Catacombs is definitely the way to go in terms of enhancing my Clank experience. So that's number 7 for me. Well, this is a fun list. Number 6 is Silver. That's a bit of a cheat because I have everything Silver, but I didn't know that I was going to get I and Fang from Bezier, and then they showed up at my house, and I've yet to play them because I'm in Nova Scotia right now and they showed up in Toronto, but I love Silver. I love Silver so much. It's in my top 20 games of all time, Silver and Scram, and having the different decks and the different abilities and how they interact with each other, they've just been so much fun. I love that Fang introduces the team version of Silver, which you can just play with any version of Silver. It's just like, hey, play it as a team. That's it. But the fact that Fang is maybe more centered around playing it as a team, I could play that versus Scram for a little bit more of an in-depth gaming experience. But I love the lightweight nature of Scram too. Silver, anytime there is a new set for Silver, it is something that I'm going to want to get. And so, I mean, Unfair is in my honorable mentions because I also have all the expansions for Unfair, and there aren't any new expansions. But when there are, I'm going to want them, and I'm going to get them immediately. But I figured I couldn't put them on the list. Silver, I figured I could put on the list because I have yet to play I and Fang, even though I have them, because I don't have them. I haven't touched them yet. Let's say that. I haven't touched the boxes yet. And so I'm actively excited to get those to the table when I get back home. Maybe we'll play a couple rounds with Zach or something. Yeah, Silver's great. Silver's great. I really like Silver. Okay, I'm happy with number 5. Number 5 is Revive. I was going to push this up just because Revive's in my top 10 games, and it's a higher game than any of the other games that are moving forward, but I'm happy having it here because I really like Revive the base game has given me. However, with the new expansion, you're going to get 4 new unique tribes. Love new tribes, love new asymmetric factions. One of my favorite things that a game can do with an expansion is to give you more of the stuff that you already love. That is the thing that I want in all expansions. I just want more. I want more of the things that I love, because one of the things I love about expansions is you get to rediscover the game in a sense. You get to re-experience that joy of delving into the world. You know, you have that experience of, oh, I found this game. Wow, I love this game. This game is so cool. And then you own it, and then you no longer get to have that reliving experience. It's like watching a movie for the first time. You're never going to get to watch a movie for the first time again, unless you're Drew Barrymore in 50 First Dates. But you could watch that sequel, and if it gives you enough fan service and it gives you a different story, there's a new way of discovering it can add and it can build to your love of the game. And so I'm hoping that Revive will do that for me. It has 4 unique tribes, and then some new Sci-Fos cards and more. Introduces a new mysterious life form, Sci-Fod, which lives in the giant lakes that are formed by meltwater from glaciers. By building near lakes, you gain devotion points, which lets you access new and powerful Sci-Fos cards. You also use the switch action to initiate journeys, sending you out your citizen on missions to gain more devotion points. Oh, that does seem fun. Then 15 new machine tokens, great. Slot modules, citizen cards, 4 new tribes, being compatible with solo, sure. They feature only an advanced side. Okay, well, they just didn't want to do a basic side. So they're not as flexible, right? Because in the base game, you essentially have 6 different one side or the other. Here, so you're adding 4 to the 12 options and not 8 to the 12 options, but it's still fine. These Sci-Fos cards, you know what? I didn't even know about them, and now I think they're cool. It kind of reminds me of the Dune Imperium. Oh, look at these. Whoa! Spend a crystal for a chest? That's pretty good. I mean, chests will often give you like a crystal and a point, so it's not wildly impressive, but there are cards that give you points for chests, which you could then like chain together, so that's neat. 3 points for a Sci-Fos card. Yeah, okay. I think this would be very easy to implement and also pretty fun. Cordycephians. Yeah, just with advanced sides. Oh yeah, just adding more tracks. I really like this concept of the devotion track. I like that building next to a lake gives you more stuff. Although I always thought building extra lake was still pretty good because it gives you a one-time bonus, even if it doesn't give you a bump up the track. But I guess you could double build next to lakes now and get benefit from that. So I do like that as a potential possibility. I already know that the insert that I want printed for Revive, it has to have space for the expansion because I already know I'm going to get it down the line at some point. So when you know that, when you're already planning your insert to have space for the expansion, you know you want to get that expansion. This does seem really cool. This seems like it would be very easy to implement. I'm always, again, scared of expansions that I couldn't just always throw into the base game, and it feels like I could throw this into the base game without too much more overhead as well. So yeah, oof, this could go up now that I've actually looked into it. I just clicked on it because I love Revive. Number 4 is the White Castle Matcha. White Castle Matcha, I love White Castle as well. I think it's so good. And White Castle Matcha essentially gives everybody an extra turn, like another round. I don't really care that it's giving you a new place to go to, but it's giving you another dice, right? So you're getting an extra turn each round. And so you're going to get to do so much more. And I love how tight the White Castle is right now, but I'm also very curious as to the implications of adding in that extra turn, because you also add in this extra worker type. So it's just another round, another thing to interact with, more ways to trigger your engine with adding that extra turn each round. I'm really intrigued as to the implications of the game. I wonder how that will work. I probably won't play it that much because I'll keep my White Castle as the base game because WSBG has the base game. But if that were to ever be cycled out of WSBG, then maybe I would grab the matcha to incorporate. It's again, like Red Cathedral. I have Red Cathedral Contractors and I rarely play with it. I like it. I really like it. I think it's actually a great expansion, but I don't ever play with it because it adds to a little bit of that overhead and a little bit of that teach, and also it requires me taking 2 boxes instead of 1, right? And so for all those sort of real world applications, I don't often play with it. And so I wonder if matcha would be the same, adding another box, adding an extra element, or if I would like that addition. I don't think it's going to be quite like Planet Unknown Supermoon. So I knew the Supermoon expansion would be bad, and I was completely right in that. It's not a good expansion because the base game is better without it. Because the base game is tight, right? And you want an engine building game to not let you do everything. If you can do everything in an engine building game, you're not going to come back to that game because you've seen all. You're not going to be incentivized to come back and try new strategies because you've optimized it. You've done it. You've filled your whole tableau, right? You've gotten to the top of every track, and that's what Planet Unknown Supermoon does. And that's, I worry what matcha would do, but the fact that you get 5 additional workers alleviates that worry for me a bit. So yeah, would definitely love to try it out. Would add to the complexity for sure. It feels like it might be a bit overwhelming because there's so many combo possibilities with White Castle as it is. I think adding to it may not be the call, but I'd be really intrigued. I'd be intrigued to play it. I'd love to try it out. And that's what this list is about. So that's why it's number 4 on the list. Number 3 is One Night Ultimate Werewolf. Now I have One Night Ultimate Werewolf, and I have One Night Ultimate Werewolf Daybreak. So these things aren't even listed. Daybreak isn't even listed here as an expansion, and like Vampire wouldn't be listed as an expansion. Alien wouldn't be listed as an expansion. Supervillains is not listed as an expansion, but they are their own unique games, right? They're their own unique games, and they're their own unique spot in the app. Because you can click up top here to add in all the different roles. And so the benefit of being able to add in all the additional roles is I can just in the app see, okay, I'm just gonna look solely at what the alien stuff does.
Oracle, answer the app.
Oracle, answer the app. Okay, I don't know what that does.
Synthetic, wake with the other aliens. You win, and everyone else loses if you are killed.
Oh, okay, so Synthetic is like an alien tanner. That's cool. Oh, that's really cool. So one of the aliens wants to die. And it's like, listen, I'm the Synthetic. I saw those 2 are the aliens. You can kill me. No, but then they wouldn't kill you. Oh, that's fun. I love a tanner role, right? And so the benefit of this is you just add in more zany roles in terms of how things interact with each other.
Wake with the other aliens. Then wake again to look for Zerb. You win if Zerb is killed.
Oh, so you're targeting like Zerb. I think One Night Ultimate Werewolf is such a great party game, and I love having the option of shaking up some roles. I don't really like all the roles in the base game because they're not as great with a smaller player count. Like, who cares about the Masons, right? And then I used to really like all the roles in Daybreak. Like, I used to really like the Curator. So the Curator, oh, I need to go back. The Curator in Daybreak just draws a random, oh, I don't want that. No, I want One Night Daybreak. No, the Curator right here, it has all of these silly things, which I thought were really funny. You could become a werewolf, you could become a tanner just randomly, or you could draw a tile that makes you not speak, or you could draw a tile that makes you turn your chair around and then nobody lets you participate in the conversation. And so, like, I thought stuff like the Curator was fun, and then I played with it a couple times and it wore itself out, right? And so having the option for a little bit more fun and funny flexibility in One Night and curating that collection a little bit, no pun intended, would I think be interesting. So yeah, adding more, the problem is my One Night box is pretty full as it is. And so I think if I added more cards to it, I may not be able to fit it into that box because I sleeved them as well. And I know it's kind of silly to sleeve these cardboard ones, but again, with party games, I like sleeving them, which I thought I would never say, but because they're easy to get damaged, right? Anything with hidden information where the back of the card matters, then you kind of do need to protect them because you're going to play with people who don't care about your games, and then you don't want to be stressed out the whole time, and it has definitely alleviated my stress about people playing with things properly. But yeah, One Night Ultimate Werewolf, adding in additional roles. Drop your favorite roles. Hey, if you're watching and you play One Night Ultimate, what are your favorite roles? What do you like to include all the time? I really like the Witch. I think that's a fun one. Or what are your kind of favorite combos, especially for that like 4 to 5 player realm? That's what I'm sure there's a forum on Board Game Geek, but I trust you and your opinion because you have impeccable taste since you're right here. Okay. Number 2, of course it is. It's Terraforming Mars. And Terraforming Mars has a million promo cards, but the one that I am actually, I like anything to do with corporations and anything to do with preludes. And so the one that I would want to throw into my copy, and I hope that we eventually start throwing it into WSBG so I get it into my copy, is Prelude 2. Prelude 2 just adds more stuff for Prelude. I do love the Prelude idea. I love Prelude. It's a very fun expansion. It does make the game go quicker. It's just great getting a big boost of resources to start your game, and an asymmetric boost of resources to start your game feels great. Remember this, game designers. Starting with an asymmetric boost to your tracks and to your income feels amazing. It always feels amazing, and it's something I want in every game. And so getting a bunch of new Prelude cards, wow. That's so rude. Just make everybody lose five bucks and money production and you get $10. I don't know if it's worth it. I'd rather get other stuff. But getting a bunch more cards, a bunch more corps, and this I think is a really great idea. There's so many different maps over the course to shake up the milestones. The milestones and awards really make things shift the play quite significantly. And so being able to randomize those, I think, is also a really fun way to just shake up the base Terraforming Mars game without even worrying about getting the extra map. I'm so used to the base map that whenever I play the other maps, I don't know, I feel like a base map snob, but I like it the best. It's fun for a change, but I think because I'm so locked into the strategy of the base game that playing with the new maps is different. Although, you know what? I think we are getting the new maps for WSBG this year, and it'll be interesting to see how people play on the new maps. And that means I'll get to add those to my collection, because I should get a copy of them. Or if I don't, I'm going to just steal them from WSBG. So I'm hoping that Prelude 2 gets incorporated into WSBG so that I can just get a copy myself and not have to pay for it. But I would pay for Prelude 2. I almost jumped in on the Kickstarter, and then I was like, wait a minute. It's gonna be pretty accessible. And also, too, for any of the World Series of Board Gaming games, again, I try to keep my copies without additional expansions because I use them to run little mini tournaments, and I use them for framing how I think about the game and how I commentate on the game. And so I don't want that extra knowledge for me as a commentator and as somebody who creates content on it for the World Series of Board Gaming. So that is just very unique to my own situation, which I realize isn't a factor and shouldn't be a factor here, which is why I was like, okay, if I didn't have to worry about that restriction, for sure I would add Prelude 2 into my game of Terraforming Mars. That would be the first expansion I think I would get. Well, after Prelude. No, actually, it might be the first one. I think you could do it before Prelude. Although the corps in Prelude are really fun. I love a new corp, right? We were pushing so hard to get a unique corp for WSBG. I don't think it worked out this year, but we're going to keep on pushing and get a unique corp design for WSBG. That's my hope. Anyway, number one, moving on to the number one expansion that I would get. People have talked to me about this a ton, and I'm now convinced. And I love Grand Austria Hotel, a real sort of top and tail trigger right here. But at least I love Grand Austria Hotel, and we'll play it all the time as well. And so what is Let's Waltz? Night has fallen in Vienna, and it's ball season. Your hotel guests are all dressed up. The champagne is flowing, and society is far from ready to retreat to their bedrooms. Of course not. Everybody wants to enjoy the nightlife. What better way than to dance in one of Vienna's famous ballrooms until dawn? Also the title, the first expansion. Your hotel can visit Vienna's famous ballrooms, opening up new and exciting strategic possibilities, especially popular despite all the socializing at balls. The solo campaigns, that's for a whole other story. Where does this ballroom open up? Oh, so there's a little ballroom up here that you can send your people up to. I guess these are people who specifically want to dance at night. Oh, these are all the modules. And so it just throws in a bunch of different modules into the Let's Waltz expansion. A new ballroom for people to dance in. Yeah, let's look at the rules. Who would have thought I'd be reading a rule book? There's 5 modules: Vienna ballrooms, celebrities, unique hotels, start player, and would you like some more? Try each module separately, sure. Oh, you're gonna get a huge bump in points. In this one, you have a set of 10 dancers practicing in the rehearsal rooms of your hotel. Whenever you complete a guest's order, instead of moving them to a hotel room, you can now choose to send them to one of the 3 ballrooms as a dancer. So you can choose either to fill them in the hotel room or to put them as a dancer. Entering these famous sites is expensive, has to be paid with champagne. In return, you can gain valuable bonuses and additional victory points during the ballroom. So you need to get champagne. But wherever you put them, you gain those additional actions. And you can also get champagne in addition to wine and coffee. Cool, that's fun. That seems fun. Just having that choice of filling up rooms or sending them to dance. And especially if you have, if you don't have a good room for them. And then ballrooms are scored after each emperor scoring as well. So there's just another scoring mechanisms. Cool. Then we have celebrities. Module replaces 3 white dice with colored dice. Oh, associated with celebrity in the lounge. Cool. And taking a colored dice, you also get the associated celebrity from the lounge who will provide valuable support for the rest of that round. For a price, of course. The earlier you get them, the higher the price. So timing is key. Cool. Love that. That sounds so fun. Model 3, unique hotels. You start by bidding on individual hotel entrances that change your starting conditions and empower you with unique abilities for the duration of the game. Of course. Didn't I say that's the sort of stuff that I love? Asymmetric starts. Module 4, start player. A new start player action is featured on the action board. Taking this action, you forgo taking a dice from the action space. Instead, you get a skeleton key. You'll go first next round. In addition, you get a drink or a dish of your choice. So you can really shake up the round order. It's not always guaranteed. And you can take a main action with a strength of 1. So you can take anything. So it's another random spot. Cool. That does sound fun to implement as well. And then, would you like some more? It just features new staff cards, new objectives, and new emperor tiles. Very simple. Combining modules. Nice. I love all those. I wasn't sure about honestly the waltzing. That seems to be the most complicated one of them. And I was like, I don't know if it's going to shake up the game a little bit too much. But I thought this would be the most complicated one. And wasn't sure about how to implement it, but the other modules feel great. Feel like they would be really fun to throw in and try. So that's my number 1 expansion. But I am going to run through my honorable mentions just quickly of expansions that I've heard about that are fun. And if you want to talk about them and incite me into putting them on my list and bumping other things off, please do. That's what the comments section is for. I love hearing all of your excitement. And tell me about your favorite expansion as well, and the expansion that you're thinking about that you might want to get next. So here's a cheat. Dinosaur Island Raw and Right doesn't have an expansion. It doesn't have an expansion. But I heard 3 years ago that the designer was working on one. And so I don't know if that's still ever going to happen. But if it does, it's an immediate purchase for me. I love this game because I think the only change would be that there are different symbols on your pad or on your map or whatever. And if you cover them, then you get more stuff. And so I think that would be a really neat concept, something I would be interested in playing. I put Everdell on this list. I've talked a lot about Everdell expansions. I could get New Leaf into my set, but I'm really more excited about Silverfrost coming in, and then to play Farshore and Silverfrost in Everdell. I think having those versus any expansions for Everdell is kind of the way to go. I put Food Chain Magnate, the Ketchup expansion on here. I have this. It's not with my copy of Food Chain right now, but it's at home. I don't play Food Chain enough to play this with the expansion, but it's like the Puerto Rico buildings expansion. It's going to really shake up all the milestones, which in turn would shake up the entire strategy of the game. I think all of the modules seem really cool in this. You have the ketchup, you have the coffee and baristas, new districts, like everything here feels really neat and interesting to engage with. I just don't play Food Chain Magnate at that much. I think I need to introduce it more to a core group and then try to get them playing it more, because it's such a good game. Like, it's so good. It's such a great design. I just don't play it enough to really see the value of this. The Hunger, I have an expansion. George got me an expansion, I think. Oh, and I have it in my game. I was like, I don't even have it. But I do have it with my copy. I don't have the insert that George is also making for me. And it's going to make me for Revive and probably Grand Austria Hotel right now. And Lorenzo. But yeah, the Hunger adds in this little werewolf expansion where you can hunt werewolves as well, or werewolves will attack you for grabbing things in a specific row. Seems pretty easy to implement. We didn't play with it the last time I played because there were new players, but I think it actually would be very easy to implement and put into consideration. I put Lorenzo on here because so Lorenzo now has Lorenzo the Big Box, and I think Lorenzo the Big Box is the only way you can get it, which incorporates all of this stuff. I have the Potsy Conspiracy Kickstarter deck, which is a new set of cards, which I think is really cool. But I'd be interested in the Houses of the Renaissance as well, which adds in a fifth column and just adds in a new stuff to shake up the game. I really like the base game though. The base game's so good that I rarely use the Potsy one. The Potsy gives all new cards and they're a little bit more attacking. And so if you want it to be a bit more of a cutthroat game, where it's already pretty cutthroat in terms of like denying people spots, every space you need to go first. Yeah, that's something that I am interested in and would like to play. So many good games. I just love talking about games that I have. Now this is an interesting one because I didn't purchase the expansion to this, the standalone expansion. I didn't do it because I have enough characters. That doesn't mean that I don't want more characters. I love more characters. Massive Darkness, Shadow Reach, the characters sound really fun, but I'm not going to buy a whole new game just for those characters. And also, I'm really proud of the insert that I made for Massive Darkness, and there's no room in it for anything else. So that'll even stop me from getting the Druid as an additional character pack, because there's literally no room. And I care about space saving a little bit more than I care about having the extra options. However, I do think they look cool and look like a lot of fun. Orleans I put on here. I actually have no desire for the Orleans expansion. I know that there's a way to make it into a co-op game and that everybody loves this expansion. What is it? Yeah, the Invasion. You kind of make it a co-op game. You make it changes the game entirely. I don't know. Everybody always talks about Orleans Invasion, and I've never felt the desire to ever have it, but I included it on this list in case you all love it, and you can tell me why. Solkin, I have the 5th player expansion, this Tribes and Prophecies expansion that I got off Kijiji. Somebody was selling it for like $10. It was such a great find because I'd wanted it for a while. I haven't yet played it though, but it adds again that asymmetric start, more asymmetric powers to your tribes. I don't think I would want to play this with 5 people, but I really like having the option, and I like this, the little twist and the little modules that it adds on there. Unfair, we talked about that I want every expansion ever, and that's never going to change. Barony, I almost got the new edition just for the expansion, but then when I looked into it, I was like, okay, it doesn't have as far-reaching implications as I was expecting it to, and so I felt okay not having the witches, the magic expansion, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't want to play it, so I definitely do want to try it at some point and see, have I missed out completely for this barony sorcery. It's just a 6th action that adds magic to the world of getting mana. Seems cool. Seems like it'll shake up the game. I love barony so completely as a game that I don't feel like I need it, but still, yeah, interested. Then we have charcuterie. Charcuterie's expansion is just like the honey expansion. Don't call me honey. You can drizzle honey on your expansion. That's it. It's a little Gen Con promo. Hold the honey string over your finished charcuterie board. You can drizzle. I don't even know about what this was, but you drizzle honey and then you get points if it's on good stuff or not. That's funny. That's a little dexterity element. I also think adding more tiles to charcuterie would never be a bad thing. More scoring conditions to charcuterie would never be a bad thing. I really like the game. And then finally, Shogun no Katana. There'll be a review for this coming out at some point. My patron Copeland, who I now have met, who just came to see the show, just came to see Robin Hood, which is so lovely, loves this game and sent me a copy saying he wanted more people to be talking about this game, but also insisted upon the Metal Katana expansion, which just makes it a little less tight. And I want to play the game with this before I do the review. You don't even need, you can use anything, right? You don't need this as a piece, but I want to incorporate it into the base game because I think that extra wiggle room will make me like the game a lot more. Just being allowed to do more things and have it not be such a tight experience, that's what I'm hoping, because right now it's sitting at like, I don't know, it's sitting at a 3.5 for me. I think it's good. I think it's fine, but it's not one that is blowing me away currently. And I'd like maybe that extra wiggle room to make me blown more. I want to be blown more is what I'm saying. So yeah, those are all some expansions that I've been thinking about, talking about, enjoying the top 10 and the honorable mentions. Like I said, drop your ideas down below and share what you've been enjoying and what your favorite expansions are and which ones suck and which ones are great. I love you lots. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you all as a community. It's really nice to share this stuff with you, talk about board game stuff with you. You're very meaningful to me. My name is Chris George. I don't have a catchphrase, but I do have a sap phrase because I love y'all.